Breaking right now, Reuters reports that Iran's Revolutionary Guard says it seized a British tanker in the Strait of Hormuz, claiming it failed to follow international marine regulations. Oil is popping right now. Let's go to Yahoo Finance's Washington correspondent, Jessica Smith, with the latest. Jessica, do we have any official U.S. response on this yet?
Yeah, we just heard from the National Security Council within the last couple minutes, and they sent a statement saying that the U.S. will continue to work with our allies and our partners to defend our security and interests against Iran's malign behavior. That was from a spokesperson at the National Security Council. Again, this comes after Iran claims it seized a British tanker in the Strait of Hormuz while in international waters. Iran claimed that ship failed to follow international marine regulations. Iranian state TV says it turned the ship over to maritime authorities, and then the ship's owner put out a statement saying that it was unable to get in contact with the ship. There were 23 people on board. It's in contact with UK authority, and at this point, we have no word on injuries. The statement that the ship's owner put out said there are no reported injuries. Britain's Ministry of Defense says it's still trying to get further information here. And of course, this is all escalating. Tensions between Iran and the West. Just yesterday, President Trump said that the U.S. Navy shot down an Iranian drone. Iran denies that, but President Trump reiterated today that the U.S. did shoot down an Iranian drone. And this comes as this dispute between Iran and Britain that has been going on for a few weeks now. Britain seized an Iranian tanker, saying that it was heading to Syria, which would violate UK sanctions. Iran had called it an act of piracy, threatened to retaliate, and now Iran says it has captured a British tanker. So escalating tensions between the West and Iran. President Trump was asked just earlier today if he was concerned about a potential clash. He said no. He says we have the greatest people in the world, the greatest equipment in the world, and the greatest ships. He says we don't want to have to use them, but they're the most deadly ships ever conceived. He says we hope for their sake, speaking about Iran, they don't do anything foolish. If they do, they will have to pay a price like nobody's paid a price before. So we are working to learn more details about this, but what we know right now, Iran says that it has seized this British tanker.
Jessica, given all of the other noise that's been coming out of Washington, D.C. recently, I mean, we've heard from the president on Iran. In terms of other people that you're talking to there on the Hill, is this something that is on the front burner for them, or is it still off to the sidelines?
I'd say it's definitely a big issue that they're worried about right now. I mean, there's so much going on in Washington, but definitely an escalating situation here with Iran is a big concern of them. You know, we had a few weeks ago when the president decided not to go through with that retaliatory strike after Iran shot down a U.S. drone, and there were some in Congress that think that the president should have done something there, that he should have retaliated. That was a big debate. Others were praising him for kind of stepping back and not making the situation worse, possibly. So, yeah, this is a big source of debate in Congress, and I think it will continue to be as this situation unfolds.
Jessica Smith for us in Washington, D.C. Have a good weekend. So the same question I would put to you, which is in terms of investors, is a geopolitical escalation even on the front burner for people thinking about what's happening with the S&P?
So get out of my head, because actually I was wondering that myself, and a lot of people that I talk to, this is not even on their radar screen. You know why? Partially because the trade war is also not on their radar screen. They remain locked and loaded, no pun intended, on the rate cuts, whether it's 25 basis points, whether it's 50 basis points, and I think secondarily how earnings season is trending, which we all know hasn't been so hot.
I think you can categorize some of the different concerns that folks have in business in general, and maybe, right, the trade war's not at the front of mind, but maybe it is rates. But at the same time, you do hear oftentimes on these conference calls that they'll talk about uncertainty, and they often point to, geopolitical risk, especially when I'm covering the banks and they're talking about deal activity. That's something that tends to come up quite often. So I would say that investors are definitely focused, maybe not the top focus.
I think to get them focused, you need to see an oil spike. That's the bottom line. You need to see oil probably back over 70 bucks.
We just see oil prices go just
I mean, they went up a little bit, but not a huge spike here. It's still looking to be down for the week. I mean, it is one of those things, though, that can turn on a dime, and something that certainly people are feeling the need to brush up on and looking at as well.